Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to create this cool fake glass 3D iridescent effect in Photoshop. It looks really complex, but actually it's very simple. Let's get to it. First of all, you want to start off by making a new document. This is 2000 pixels by 2000 pixels. You can choose whatever size document you want, but this is what we're going to use. So the first thing that we're going to do is create a new layer, Control Shift N, press enter. And you want to use our brush tool, and that's by pressing B. You want to choose the soft round brush, make the flow 100%, and choose black as the foreground color. Now you want to paint a few strokes on the canvas. It doesn't need to be anything important. This is just temporary. This is just so we can see the effect that we're trying to use. So this effect uses bevel and emboss and the layer styles panel. And what we're going to do is stack multiple instances of that effect in order to create that 3D glass look. So now that we have these random strokes on our canvas, we want to go to layer 1, double click it, click on bevel and emboss. So make sure style is emboss, and you can mess around with these settings and choose something that you like. You can even play around with the light. But make sure the gloss contour is this sound wave pattern. By default, you're gonna see this linear pattern, and we don't want that. We want to create this sound wave pattern. So think of this as an curves adjustment, and this is kind of adjusting the highlights and shadows so that we're kind of emphasizing that. And we want to press OK and press OK again. And so that's the effect that we're going for, but it lacks the detail of the original. So now what we want to do is go back to layer 1, press Ctrl G, and that's going to put it inside a group. And we're going to double click the group folder, click on bevel and emboss again. And as you can see, we're kind of getting what we're trying to do, right? We're kind of seeing the detail. But instead of emboss, what we're going to choose is pillow emboss. Nothing particular. You can mess around and try other styles, but this is kind of the style that I went with. You can mess around with the detail, the size, how soft and hard those highlights and shadow is. You can even mess around with the angle of the light. And finally, what we're going to choose group 1 again and press Ctrl G, and that's going to put it into another folder. We're going to double click that. We're going to choose bevel and emboss again. So this time, what we're going to choose is inner bevel. And this is kind of the final look, or the amount of layers that we want. So I'm just messing around here, finding a look that I want. I'm just gonna mess around with the light, see how that looks. And as you can see, this effect is really experimental. You can play around with it. You can just go back to the previous folders and mess around with that. So now that we have our effect of the desired effect that we want to create some strokes that look good. So I'm gonna go back to our layer 1. Just click that once. I'm gonna press Ctrl A to select everything, and then I'm just gonna press delete. And I'm gonna go back to my brush tool, just press B, and I'm just gonna find some strokes that I think look good. So as you can see, this effect is really easy. If you make a mistake, just press E for the eraser tool, and you can just erase it if it doesn't look good. So this is the design that I landed with. I think it looks cool. It looks kind of like a flower or something that's growing from the bottom right of our screen. And I just like the curves and how organic it looks. Now we want to add color to it. In our original design, The way I did it was by using curves and color balance and some exposure. But I think for the purposes of this tutorial, I think this isn't the right way to do it. As you can see, there's really no way to control what colors you want. And maybe as a beginner who's watching this video might have difficulty in creative direction or in art directing what they want. So I'm going to take a different approach. And how we're going to do that is by using a gradient map. So we're going to go to the bottom right of our screen. You see this circle. Just pick gradient map. And be sure to click this icon just to be safe. Because sometimes when you're on the layer mask, sometimes the gradient map doesn't work. And you want to edit that. And so what this gradient map does, it's reassigning the dark and light values of our design with whatever color that we choose. So as you can see, by just moving this, we can essentially affect the entire artwork. So maybe I want to make something that looks kind of vibrant. And what I found, in order to sell this effect, I think that it's best to have a dark color occupying the shadows that we made, so that it kind of sells this 3D effect. And you might be wondering that the gradient map is affecting the background as well. We're gonna have a fix for that later. So as of right now, I'm just choosing colors that I think would look good. So now that we have this design, I kind of wasn't feeling the light background, so I decided to make the background black and just mess around with the colors more. So now that we have this, we want to remove the gradient map from the background so that it's only affecting the color, the 3D glass effect that we made. So what we want to do is click the group folder, and we want to press Ctrl Alt E, and what that does is merge everything. And we want to hide this. You want to press Ctrl, hold it, and click on the layer, and that's gonna make a selection. We want to move to our gradient map, make our background color black just by pressing X, and we want to press Ctrl Backspace, and we want to press Ctrl I to invert that. So now you can see the gradient map, it's only affecting the colors that we made. Right now it doesn't look right. Maybe if we change this to a darker black, we're gonna see the effect better. So now that we've added a layer mask on the gradient ramp, we can choose any color we want for the background. So if we double click that and go to layer styles and choose color overlay, you can choose any color you want. Maybe this looks kind of cool, that faded pink, that looks awesome. Maybe this faded blue. So yeah, I think that looks cool. So essentially that is the effect. So now you can decide what text you want to add, what textures, and what sort of filters you want to add on this design. Now you can even adjust the colors even more, but the way that I want to do it is by using a selective color. I find this technique much easier since you can really just dial in the colors on what you want. So maybe make the yellows pop even more, make the reds even feistier, fierce, you see. Maybe let's go to blue, make that even more bluish. And maybe we can change the white so that it's less blue. Maybe. I'm not sure how I feel about that. So the downside of this entire effect is you need to create a layer mask for your gradient ramp. But I think that's the only caveat. And if you're patient enough to draw and just go back and forth. I think this effect looks really nice and really worth it. So I'm just gonna add a few more textures and text. Yeah, so that's the effect that I want. I didn't really do much anything to it. I think that it just looks really good on its own. So if you like this video, please consider subscribing. I have a lot more videos planned. If you like any designs that you see on my Instagram, please let me know, because I'm really open about showcasing the things that I've learned from my career, and I want to share it with you guys. So see ya.